How's it going, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Now, today I woke up and it's not been a good night of sleep. I'm actually kind of tired. My eyes kind of, look a little bit iffy right now because, well, I still have an eye infection on this side and it's really painful, but that's besides the point. What are we doing today, guys? Well, we have ourselves a rumor. So this was sent to me by one of you guys on Twitter, which I'll check out right now and actually see who specifically sent it to me, so I make sure to give the credit to the right person who sent me this, rumor here to take a look at on 4chan. This was sent to me by, Sheely Ingley. So Sheely Ingley is actually a person that sent me several rumors in the past. So shout out to Sheely here because this individual has sent me several of these. So, it's worthwhile checking out. I feel like these rumors, there is some validity to some of these sometimes, but also there are a bunch of fake ones. So keep in mind, take this with a grain of salt. Don't take this as real instantly. But this is a nice rumor that leads into a theory that I wanted to talk about. So I thought, let's just crush, two birds with one stone so we don't have to make two different videos on this subject. So let's get started with what the actual rumor says. So here it is. We got a picture of a custom-made Meltan Evolution, which we now know for a fact the next Pokemon we're going to be getting, and it's been confirmed through the ID asset numbers for in Pokemon Go for Meltan. It's been kind of confirmed now that Meltan's like new form or whatever is not actually in form, it's an actual evolution. But how that evolution is going to work, definitely is going to have to do something with like several Meltans combining into a larger Meltan. So let's start with the actual rumor here. So it says here that it evolves when 15 Meltan are transferred to Let's Go from Pokemon Go. Now, would this be very likely? I've seen some stuff about like 25 Meltans, etc. Like, I've seen different numbers like jumping around, but this guy says 15, if this is again real, 15 Meltans to be transferred from Let's Go to Pokemon Go, and that's what you need for it to evolve. Now, does that require any specific levels, or do you need to do something specific in Let's Go? Like, what's the actual reasoning? Like, where is the level of like, okay, you need to do this and this action for this to happen? Like, where does that start? Because if it's just like transferring them, do they just instantly evolve? Do they need to be in the same Pokego park? Do they need to, there's so many levels of this where I don't get it, because they don't explain it here. But that's the first one question I have is like, how does the transfer affect the evolution? Is it instantly as soon as you transfer the 15th one? So let's say you have 14 transferred to Pokemon Go. Oh, sorry, to Let's Go from Pokemon Go. You have 14 transferred, and on the 15th one, as soon as you transfer it, all of a sudden, all these Meltan you had just turn into freaking, turn into a new Meltan that's enlarged. Or do you need to take them all, put them into a specific Pokemon Go park, and then, like, maybe do the little challenge where you, like, you have a bunch of Meltan. You've seen also that with Pikachu and Exeggutor and whatnot. Or execute or whatever, but like, you've seen how like you kind of collect a bunch of them, you run like, you do a little mini game, right? Is that going to be the actual thing you have to do? You have to collect 50 Meltans in that mini game, and then at that point they evolve, or they change into the new form, or they evolve into a new form. Like, what is the actual way of evolution is my question. Now the next one he mentions here is will be in the Mewtwo movie in 2019. This is very possible, right? Usually what they always do is the mythical Pokemon that shows up in the current generation of games, aka the current upcoming game, which is Let's Go, which is a Generation 7 game, by the way. That's been essentially confirmed. But since Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee are Generation 7 games, and it falls into that, it makes sense that this current set of games, and that's what you always do, right? With, like, take Sun and Moon, right? In Sun and Moon, you had Marshadow, which was the mythical Pokemon of that game, and guess what? The year after, in 2017, Marshadow shows up in the movie. In Ultra Sun and Moon, the mythical Pokemon in that game was Zeraora. Where does Zeraora show up? In the movie the next year, which is this year, in the Pokemon movie. So what's the movie next year? It's a Mewtwo movie. It's Gen 1. So, and also, it's Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution. Think about that. Okay, so just think about it a little bit. I also have a larger theory video I'm going to do about this, like what Meltan is. Like, it's going to be a video about, like, potentially the Meltan could be the Pokemon supposed to kind of, like, either bring the balance or the destruction. It has a lot to do with, like, the theory about Azoth and whatnot, and, like, if a bunch of alchemic shit, which I've just kind of been trying to read into. It's really a lot of stuff to keep track of. I've been barely able to, like, understand everything. It's just very much information, and it's a lot of connecting dots, right? You connect one dot to this dot to that dot to this dot, right? It's a lot of connections. And what I mean by that is, like, that, you can connect how, like, like Ho-Oh Lugia, right? They connect to a specific part in alchemy, whether it's this or that, right? Gold, silver, etc. You know what I mean? Like, there's a connection between all this stuff. For example, the sun, right? The sun is like, you know, it represents this or represents that, and, you know, that you can find in sun and moon, etc. Like, there's a connection between all this stuff, and it seems like Game Freak seems to be taking a lot of inspiration and be really taking a lot of parts from that, like, the mythology, alchemy, all that stuff, and using it in their games as, like, not like as a kind of a way to branch the whole, like, thing going, you know, the whole story and every little, like, Pokemon connection and whatnot. And what does this mean? Well, basically, the whole thing with, like, time travel, wormholes and stuff, that seems to be part of, like, the, like, Tree of Life, which is basically, like, another, like, really sideline thing that I'm gonna get into in a future theory video, which it's gonna take a bit of time to put together, but I'm working on several ones because it's a big topic, right? You've probably seen videos by Loxton and Noggin, or Loxton Noggin, who's done, like, Loxton's done a lot of videos on this stuff, like, talking about, like, you know, he did that whole theory, like, 2 years ago, like, the end of the Pokemon world, right, or, like, you know, the ultimate Pokemon theory, where he kind of, like, connected all the dots, which was right, he did connect a lot of dots, and a lot of it made sense, but I think his conclusion was wrong with everything ending, because the way, like, I see it now, based on what the research I've seen, based from Nintendo, or Eduardo on Twitter, the way his research kind of speaks to me is that it's not going to end yet, or rather, if it does end, it's not going to directly end. It's just going to create another layer of itself and continue going. Now, basically, he's kind of set up in a way, where it follows his Tree of Life pillars and whatnot, and, like, basically, we're done with the middle pillar, the right pillar, and now we're moving over to the left pillar, which is the one of severity, aka the potential of the next generation of Pokemon games, all the way from Gen 8 to 10, is going to be games with a more dark side to them, right? A more dark Pokemon side, whereas the right pillar, which was Generation 5 to 7, had a more of a mercy approach, right? It was the right pillar, which is the mercy, right? So I'm really curious about where that's going to lead, and it all really, like, ties in with all these Pokemon, and it has a lot to do, like, for example, how Meltan has kind of, it looks like Mercury, right, and all that stuff. It's a huge theory. I'm gonna get into it in a different video. I'm sorry for sidelining here for a second. I'm just really interested in this stuff. It really has been intriguing me a lot, so it's besides the point, though. So let's continue here. So let's see. We'll be in the movie, Mewtwo movie in 2019. Definitely guaranteed. It always happens. Like I said, Zero Aura this year, Mars Shadow the year after in the movie, and next year we're getting a Gen 1 movie, which is essentially, I'm not sure if it's gonna be a reboot, spin-off, remake, whatever, of Mewtwo Strikes Back, and it's called Evolution. What's Meltan getting here? It's getting Evolution. Either way, ability in Gen 8 RPG that lowers Psychic Dark Ghost type attacks was made to be similar to the Metal Tantalum and its supernatural effect. Okay, so Tantalum, for anybody who hasn't watched Loxton's video on this, he actually did a video talking about Meltan and, like, how it's most likely connected to Tantalum, which is like a metal. It's very similar, as far as I understood. It's very similar to like, it's basically, it's got kind of the similar like thing to it, as in terms of like whatchamacallit, in freaking that's the word I'm looking for. It's got, like, a very nice connection as well to all this stuff about, like platinum, and how, like, platinum basically, like, it's like tantalum is used as a replacement for platinum. And what is platinum? Well, basically platinum, you know, it's like the purest or whatever of the different metals in alchemy, right? So there's a huge connection there as well, and this would make sense, right? Where tantalum would be like the thing to purify, the pure, and, you know, the purest of the metals. It would be the one to purify Psychic Dark Ghost types. Now, why would this make sense? Well, if this is a Steel type Pokemon, it was able to purify with with this ability, able to purify Psychic Pokemon, Dark type Pokemon, Ghost Pokemon. That would make sense. But again, we don't have abilities in Gen 7 in this upcoming Let's Go games, which are not Gen 8 games, by the way. They're still Gen 7 games. So my question is, will Meltan have a connection to the upcoming Generation 8? Will it have, like, some sort of connection there? Or, you know, what's the deal here? Because usually there's always, like, an overlap, right? Every time there's a new generation, a Pokemon overlaps and has an effect on the next game, right? You've got Diancie, etc., right? Pokemon that, like, are mythical often overlap into the next generation and have a connection with those things. There's always kind of a bit of an overarching connection between, like, different generations as they kind of go over to each other, with mythical Pokemon connecting to them. So I'm not sure how likely this is to be real, but I don't know, we'll see. So he says here, Steel Electric. Now, this again probably comes from Loxton's video, because Loxton specifically went in depth on the fact that, you know, it's got this, like, if you take Tantalum or whatever, or Tantalum, and you take Mercury, they actually, like, they reject each other. They bounce off, like, they, you know, Mercury won't actually, like, you know, like, because basically what Mercury does is, like, essentially consumes all things, like, all metals, right? Essentially, like, close to all metals. I think it doesn't consume, like, was it gold or something, and tantalum, and I think platinum, or no, iron, sorry, it was iron, tantalum, and platinum. It can't, like, actually, you know, basically corrode and, like, consume those. But guess what? We saw in the latest trailer that Meltan is actually able to, like, melt down most of the stuff, right? The name is a pun, right? Right? Meltan. So melting and tan could be, like, I guess there was a lot of the theories for what tan can stand for. And I'm gonna go in depth on this more in my different video, because now we have more information about Meltan and what it does. And also, again, the electric typing here fits into Loxton's theory, which was that, you know, if you kind of have, like, an electric current going through the tantalum, which would be the top part, I assume, or, like, you know, the top part of it, which would be the little, like, you know, cog or whatever. I don't know what the actual word is for it. I don't know the English word, but you know, that, and then the body being, you know, made out of mercury and kind of going through them. Now, again, I could have misunderstood that, because I think he said, like, the top part could be a different substance, but, you know, basically like a current of electricity going through them to keep them together without floating away from each other, and, you know, kind of like, you know, bouncing away from each other and rejecting each other. And you can kind of see, like, I guess that would mean that maybe that the eye would be maybe potentially the tantalum, and the body would be, like, the mercury. Again, it's kind of hard for me to, like, attach all these things to each other right now, because I'm going off the top of my head, but that's besides the point, though. So evolution and not a form. So this is kind of something we already know, that it's not going to be an evolution or anything. It's just going to be a it's not going to be a form. It's going to be a brand new evolution. That's what we know already, kind of based on the ID numbers. So multiple Gen 8 Pokemon will evolve with this method, fusion. So this is what I like, because this leads me into a theory sent to me by Marco. Now, Marco sent this to me the other day, and I was, like, really intrigued. I was like, dude, this really makes sense with what I was going to talk about, because like, this is something I wanted to cover for a little bit now, because Meltan really, like, intrigues me. So here's what he sent to me. Hey, Ruffle, my name is Marco. I'm a Pokemon enthusiast from Germany and one of your newer fans via YouTube. There's something I would like to talk about, and I'd love to hear what you think about this. I know you must be busy, but I still hope you find a little time for this. Of course, man. I got you, dude. Since Gen 8 is supposed to come out next year, they developed 3 years by then. So I'm actually pretty sure they will try to leave all of us speechless, which I agree. I think Gen 8 is going to be a very big game. I think it's going to be the kind of explosion of Pokemon again. It's going to be, like, very big for us. So I'm really excited for that. What I want to talk about is a possible new evolution update. There's a certain thing annoying me comparing evolutions within the anime and within the games. For example, the evolution of Magnemite to Magnetone. In the anime, it is said that Magnetone is an evolution of 3 Magnemite combining into Pokemon via magnetism. While in the games, you just train one up and then train them up to a certain level, level 30. It's understandable that back then they did not have programmatic knowledge, or the knowledge to program those levels, so they left him like that. What if in Gen 8, or maybe even Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, they introduce a new system of combining and a certain amount of Pokemon to enable an evolution at that point? This could be also be a new theory referring to Meltan. With some Pokemon, like Zygarde, they tried something similar, right? The only difference is that players needed to collect cells to enable a better form. So there's no evolution at this point. Also, Pokemon I could easily see getting a similar evolution update could be Diglett, of course, Vanillish, of course, or even Combi. On the first thought, though, this is maybe not really special. But consider what it could change within the perception of Pokemon games and evolutions. It would give Pokemon more deepness, more logic, realness, and they can even design new Pokemon ending up stronger when they amass to evolve. Of course, I would dislike it if we would be enable for every Pokemon, but that's why Mega Evolutions or Z moves were exclusive to a certain amount of Pokemon, right? Exactly. This is something that would be really cool, but if it's limited to a certain amount of Pokemon. Thank you for taking time to read this. I apologize to preview in case my writing is not easy to read. It's all good, man. Don't worry about it, dude. But yeah, again, man, have a nice day and greetings, Marco DE from Germany. Yes, mate. All good, dude. And I actually told him here, your theory is not bad, dude. I like it a lot. If you have more thoughts, I would love to elaborate further. Let me know. He's like, sure, dude. Well, if Pokemon could evolve when they amass, Game Freak could also introduce a new first evolution for the duo. That would be also be cool just between. This could also be done with Execute, but what I think is unlikely to happen though. What also bothers me, the games have become more and more easy since Gen 6, so most hardcore fans want a pretty tough game to play and not just an insane strong mountain, a tall Necrozma, if you get what I mean. I get what you mean. So how could they make this updated evolution function harder? function harder. An idea could be that our 3 Magnemite, for example, need to have something in common. Would be cool if they would need the same level or the same nature. This would make the games, not only the games only harder, but also deeper and cooler. I agree. This would actually be a really cool way where, like, you have to collect a certain amount of Pokemon. Maybe they have to have the same ability, the same nature or whatever. And you have those, you combine them, and they evolve into, like, you know, Magnetone, whatever. You know what I mean? You get the point. You know, a bunch of, like, 3 Magnemites, they evolve into Magnetone. You know, you get, like what? Let me think. You get, like, I can't think of another Pokemon right now. Diglett, right? You get like three Diglets, right? And you evolve them in Jugtrio, right? You combine them. So also leaning on this theory, what do you think about combining evolution? I don't mean in a real fusion way. I dislike that. But let's consider the Pokemon already did that before. Take a look at Slowpoke and Shelder. In the anime, they do have a background. Following the anime, if a Shelder bites a Slowpoke in the tail, it evolves to Slowbro. When Slowpokes get bitten or on the head by a Shelder, it evolves to Slowking. So that's actually really cool, by the way, which is like, I kind of forgot about that, but, you know, Slowbro, Slowking, Slowpoke, right? That's a really weird Pokemon reality. Like, when you think about it, Slowpoke is a really weird Pokemon because it evolves based on, like, getting bitten by another Pokemon. It's really strange. For the prototype game mechanics, what if you have a Slowpoke in the first slot and a Shelder right behind it in your team? Under different circumstances like level, attack, etc., this could cause an evolution for both of them to one Pokemon. My idea would be something like this. Slowpoke, Shelder. Slowpoke standing in front of Shelder within your team, you know, and then you get a Slowbro. Shelder, Slowpoke. Shelder standing in front of Slowpoke within your team, while Slowpoke carries the Kingstone. Slowking, higher level than then. Okay, cool. Evolutions where your team number or space number matters already exists with Nincada. If we go back to Meltan, I think the design is somewhat, somewhere, going back where Game Freak came from. Due to that, it is a mysterious mythical Pokemon. Oh yeah, they're talking about Meltan. Due to that, it is a mysterious mythical Pokemon. I think they won't throw these kind of evolutions at us, so only a few old and new Pokemon could benefit from this. Also, I hope they will design the new Gen 8 Pokemon more Pokemon-ish. The last gen weren't too bad, but the Ultra Beasts, come on. Yeah, I agree, the Ultra Beasts weren't, like, the best design things. I didn't really like most of them. I liked Adhesive, right? Or, like, I don't know what they call it now, Poipole, right? I liked Adhesive, man. I thought it was a good name. Poipole just sounds weird. Poipole. I don't know, either way. Also, I hope they will design it, and well, glad you had the time, and hope you enjoyed. Dude, I love it, man. Thank you. So, again, thank you to Marco here for kind of summarizing this. But again, I hope you guys kind of catch my drift here. What I'm trying to get across is that I like this idea of potentially, like, new evolutions. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Pokemon evolving through a new method where, you know, it's not just like you simply, you know, like we had kind of this stuff in the past. I remember, like, we had these sort of things where, like, you know, you place a Pokemon specifically in a certain pod or whatever. Like, there's weird ways to, like, evolve Pokemon. And I think this would just be another good way, like, to kind of add something extra to the games. Sure, it may be a little bit gimmicky in a way, whatever, like, I get that. But it's a kind of an extra thing. It's fun. I like it. And I think it opens up a lot of potential and, like, doors and whatnot for what kind of evolutions we could expect. So to me, this is exciting. I like this potential. I like this rumor. I actually really think it's a fun one. So my question is, what do you guys think? Do you think this sounds realistic? Do you think it sounds ludicrous? What are your thoughts? What are your opinions? Let me know in the comment section down below, guys. And that's just going to be the end of this video, guys. So I just want to cover this real quick. It's an interesting kind of, you know, video perspective, and I kind of want to really, like, talk about this, as I still have those videos I'm planning on doing, these theories that are just humongous. I'm telling you, these theories, like, it's just going to be so much to talk about, and I'm just going to try to break it down as much as I can. I think what I'll cover first, and I want to ask you guys, do you want me to cover these theories about Meltan, what it is, what its evolution might be, and how it connects to Gen 8? Do you want me to talk about Gen 8 and what we can maybe expect based on the previous connections to alchemy and whatnot, and maybe, like, what the future holds in the kind of the evolution, so the Tree of Life, sorry, in the Tree of Life, like, you know, I said we had the middle, we had the right, we've already went through the middle and the right. So the question is, what do we have on the left? You know, I mean, the left pillar, which is the one of severity. What could that tell us about, you know, Generation 8, Generation 9, Generation 10? What could it potentially tell us about that? You know, what could we potentially see there? If you want to see a video on that, let me know in the comment section down below. And again, like I said, if you want to see a video on Meltan specifically, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll do a theory video on Meltan, what it is, and how I almost feel like Meltan is either like the divider between Mew and Mewtwo, or the bringer of destruction, or the tool used in, you know, like Azoth, the power of quote unquote God, the you know, this thing that's going to be used to, you know, execute alchemic reactions, etc. And, you know, maybe this alchemic reaction we're thinking of is the destruction of the Pokemon world and the rebirth and kind of kindling of the universe. So again, I know it all sounds a bit ludicrous, but again, I'm really excited about this because, you know what, in Gen 8 we're getting Diamond and Pearl Remix, right? We're getting Generation 8 games, which is a brand new region, brand new games, and then right after that we're getting Diamond and Pearl Remix. So again, Diamond and Pearl, what were they all about? Well, was, you know, Team Galactic wanted to destroy the universe and reset the universe, right? By using, you know, Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, you know, the time and space and, you know, Pokemon and whatnot. Like, you know, it's all really interesting to me. So again, guys, if you enjoyed this video, drop a like down below. I hope you all want to see more stuff like this. I love talking about Pokemon lore and Pokemon theories and whatnot. It's just one of my favorite parts about Pokemon. It really just brings more like interest to me, you know, to like across the board for this whole like Pokemon world. I really like it even more this way when I am like, you know, there's like cool connections. It's really interesting. I really love that. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. My name is Rumour. I'll see you all the next time. Have a great day and bye bye, ladies and gentlemen.